let's say if you are doing an isolated medial meniscus posterior horn tear or posterior legion tear or bucket handle tear, and you can't access the very tight knee. In those cases, there's no way to open up. I mean, valgus stress also you're giving, it's not opening up to get to the back. The easiest option is to do a pike twisting with a needle. I mean, just go to the MCL at the level of the joint. You put a, and I mean, personally, I have not done that many pike twisting. I think Dr. I was just talking to Dr. Pratik about pike twisting. Sir, you will be able to elaborate better.
Yeah, so once in a while you find all these young athletes are very tight, and if you are trying to address the posterior horn, you find that you're not going there. So many of us, we don't realize that we have not done anything till we were not using pike thrusting, and at the end, a candid confession with everybody, you will see the medial femoral condyle because you're concentrating only on the meniscus. But when you finish, just look at your medial femoral condyle, you will see scratches all over because every time your instrument is being going into a tight spot, you end up doing that. We don't realize that what we have left our footprints on the femoral condyle, which will later on be of consequence. So, best thing is if you are tight, do not struggle. Do pike thrusting. We have done time and again. It does not lead to any MCL failure if you are careful. So all you need to do is put the knee in 30-degree flexion and abduct the knee. In extension, even better. But most of us actually think the MCL is right in the middle. It is not right in the middle, anterior posterior. It is actually posterior. So between the junction of anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3, that's where at the joint level, as Dr. Kamran was saying, just take your 18-gauge needle, go in and out in a horizontal fashion, making multiple punctures, and your valgus strain is there. After you've done 3 or 4 passes horizontal, you'll suddenly see 1 millimeter opening. Now then, obviously, if it is enough for you, you stop there. Otherwise, you can do more. But recommendation is not to do too much, just enough to get your instrument, which is 1.5 millimeter is enough for us for instruments to go in. So, and it does not lead to any instability or any fear of giving way or resulting in any abnormality.
It is just an incomplete tear that you are creating in the MCL with the help of a needle. That's all.
Yeah. There's a question there.
Yeah. Do you recommend any implants, like you are stitching only? So do you recommend any implants which can be used for knee repairs?
Or you mean inside out?
Yes.
So mandatory is you have to have preloaded needles. I mean, without that, it's because so you should have preloaded needles. Otherwise, and these preloaded needles are basically Ethibond 2.0, and all companies are making it. So the zone-specific cannulas, I mean, practically every company is making it. So that's not important. The important bit is that you should have these preloaded needles, because without them, because in the same thread you have 2 needles. That is what you require. Otherwise, you will not be able to do this. So practically, no specific company. I mean, whoever is cheapest in your area, I think even Indian companies are making it, so it's not a problem. Whatever cheapest in your area, you can, depending on the affordability of the patient.
In the material perspective, do you recommend any implant?
So now fiber wire is also coming in that. So depends, and they're more costlier. Otherwise, even if you are very careful while trying, they're not to use too much of force. If you should know how much is the strength required to tie the knot on a Ethibond 2.0. Otherwise, fiber wire is stronger. You can use more force, but it's more expensive.
How much, roughly, if you have any idea how much force it is?
That's a very subjective. I mean, I go to the gym, so my force is more, so I cannot tell the same force to you. That's a very subjective.
You need to have a thin, non-absorbable braided suture for meniscal repair, and you tie a tight knot. That's all.
That's all. You can't use too much force. I mean,
A non-absorbable braided suture, which is thin. Recommended is 2.0. See that historically all the repairs were done using Ethibond, which is a polyester suture. Now we have a newer sutures like fiber wire or ultra braid, whatever company is making. They are ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. Those are available. You can use that. But I still continue to use Ethibond because that's the cheapest in the hospital supply.
I think once you tear it, pull through the knot and break the ethibond, you'll have an idea how much of force to use. Because all your effort will be gone to waste. But on a serious note, what you can do is once you have tied the suture, just test the amount of strength which is required with different sutures. Then you'll have an idea.
Thank you.
Regarding that pie crusting point, because some patient may be fatty, you will not be able to pulp it even after some amount of scope, it may be swollen up. So we should follow magic point what is described by Mark Miller. So before we go into a scoping, you palpate the medial epicondyle, come downwards around 1.5 to 2 centimeter and go posterior again 1.5 to 2 centimeter. That is the point of entry on the skin. Then, as already been told, that once we give a valgus and force, we can feel the tightness of the MCL fibers there, and gradually multiple piercing, you can feel it gradually opens up. So after doing few cases, one can get acquainted easily to the technique. So there are other techniques there. This is the easiest to do about the magic point. That you must remember and mark it before we start scoping. If you are expecting a medial meniscus repair, you must mark it before we start the scoping.
Ranjit, you can demonstrate it one of the
Sure, sure.
Okay. Thank you.